Okay. Monster.
Attention, please.
Yo. 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 Yo.
Welcome to your Inspirational Astrology Horoscope for Monday, August 19th, 2024. I'm astrologer Dave Palmer, the Leo King, here to illuminate the collective consciousness. Well, thanks so much for being a part of highvibe.tv. If you are not on highvibe.tv, you are truly missing out. Go check it out, highvibe.tv, or any of our apps on every platform, including Roku, Apple TV, your Android, iOS. We're even on Vision Pro. Check it out. And I'm super stoked to be here for this really weird full moon, to say the least. We are at very extreme times, and they're going to keep getting more extreme. And don't be afraid of that. Just remember, these are, well, you all know me. I've been screaming from the rooftops for about 4+ years, and even prior 7 years, telling you this was all going to be at these points. And even prior to that, the points that got us here. So I want people to remember, before I look in this chart, how did we get here? We got here from all the transits prior. We got here. There's always a connection to all of it. So it's not like, oh, this just randomly happens and then this just randomly happens. What I love about Uranus, especially Aquarius energy, is it's 100% feels random, but the blowback after it's happened, and when you look back, you can see, well, the reason why my tire went flat was, for the last 2 weeks, I saw the steel tread and I didn't do anything about it. Oh, and that's because 6 months ago, I was like, I tried to be cool and I tried to show people that you don't need to change your tires, like whatever it might be, right? There's always the surprise isn't so much of a surprise with Uranus. Now, not to say that Uranus can bring some extreme shocks, but again, there's always that, well, the signs were there. The one to be scared of that comes out of nowhere is Pluto. All right, let's take a look, see what's going on with this astrology for this full moon. And by the way, I will be doing spiritual dance music tonight for the last time in the High Vibe TV studios that you've seen for the last 7 years. I'm out of that studio, been packing it up for 3 weeks, and I've only left that stage left. And so tonight I will be doing spiritual dance music. It will be the last one. Also, if people do want to come by, I'm doing a liquidation of a lot of stuff. If you are in the SoCal area, we've got it's like a store, basically. I've turned it into rare and very authentic, badass spiritual stuff that I've spent years collecting is at the studio. So, hit us up. You can hit us up at PR, like public relations, PR at highvibe.tv if you want to come by to watch spiritual dance music and to come by and maybe purchase some stuff. So putting that out there for people. Where am I going to put me really quick? I put me way too far by the chart. Here. There we go. That's much better. Well, here we are. This is a big full moon because of so many intense aspects. But we have to remember, too, the last full moon was a full moon in Capricorn. The one before that was a full moon in Capricorn. So we're really trying to get back on track here with our full moons, and it is like trying to change the gears with no clutch in. So remember that. But sun at 27 degrees of Leo, this full moon at 27 degrees of Aquarius. Of course, that's ironic because that's in the Sibley chart of the United States Declaration of Independence. We're seeing that exact T-square that really this full moon is bringing into this square from the sun and moon to Uranus at 27 degrees of Taurus, still direct, still within a degree or less of Algol. Venus in its worst place, Virgo, at its fall position at 18 degrees to the minute, literally, during this full moon. That's going to happen at 11:25 a.m. Pacific, 2:25 p.m. Eastern. And this is going to be within less than half a degree of opposition of Saturn. It's going to be separating from that opposition, but it's basically there. And that's very difficult. But Venus at the same time beginning to square over to Mars, and Jupiter exactly squaring over to Saturn. That's begun. So talk about being boxed out. How do we find the release in this full moon? Number one, it's about being okay with things being radically shifting. These are fixed energies in this full moon. This is square Uranus and Taurus. And with Venus opposite Saturn, with Venus square Mars, with Venus square Jupiter, with Jupiter square Saturn, which we're going to have here for the next, until like July of next year, when we see it come back into square, when they're both ingressing into Cancer and Aries, Saturn especially in Aries, Jupiter ingressing into Cancer. By the way, I think at that time too, we're not going to have a Sun-Jupiter conjunction in Gemini. We didn't have one this year. We're not going to get one next year. It's going to be in Cancer with that big square to Saturn. A little weird. But flexibility. It's hard in fixed energy. We want to hold on. We want to stay. And there's things to keep, right? The things about love, the things that really are, doing good for us to innovate, to understand other people. And right now, this is about understanding other people. The collective is going to fall apart if we can't try and find some sort of understanding that we all have different values, but we can all have more of that similar value system that we need to be looking at. This can be very difficult as well, relationship-wise, whether it's any kind of relationship, personal, family, lover, with this Venus and square to Jupiter, with this Venus and square to Mars, with this Venus opposite Saturn, with this being a full moon in Aquarius, and it's square Uranus, the dispositor of Aquarius, right? I mean, if you think about it, this moon in Aquarius, it's dispositing Uranus, it's in square to it. So that adds this double extreme factor to it, plus those last two full moons in Capricorn being very auspicious. This is where, some people could feel like they're really falling apart. And how do you get yourself back up? Well, even when you're getting yourself back up, that's like when the bee stings you and then you're like, I want to give up. No, right? I'd say that the number one thing right now is with the Sun, Mercury, Cazimi, that's really hidden underneath all this, because it just happened Sunday, right before this full moon, with Mercury at 26 degrees Leo, now the Sun passing over Mercury in this retrograde, and really the Earth passing between the Sun and Mercury, right? With Mercury passing between both of those. I mean, you have to remember that this is also Mercury in opposition to this full moon, Mercury retrograde also in square to Uranus, right? So we have to find the positive in things, and you got to laugh at this shit. I mean, to be honest with you, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be hard to laugh at, but you're going to have to find that courage to laugh at it. You have to remember that there are disruptions. There are things that are trying to move you forward, even though it looks like you're taking you backwards, right? That's the other part about Uranus, right? It's like only here to move you forward. And sometimes, and most times, it feels like you're going backwards, right? Because it's like, what do you mean? The universe just popped my tire. I'm going backwards. It's like, well, that tire wasn't going to go another 50 miles, but the new tire will take you 10,000 miles. This is a time to be flexible, because with Venus opposite Saturn, there's a big reality check. Reality is not easy at the moment. And Venus only finds pleasure in like the things that we don't take for granted, right? Like, it's like if you take things for granted right now, that's really going to be the place that you're really being upset about, because you want some more glorious, visionary aspect. With Neptune, that also is, of course, in Pisces. and the ruler of Pisces, and Saturn being here, this puts that Saturn power much stronger. Remember, Jupiter's in detriment being here. Mercury's retrograde. So this Jupiter-Mars that we've seen this conjunction with and squaring over to Venus, and Venus, of course, is in Virgo, and that's dispositing Mercury, and Mercury's retrograde in Leo. This is not about trying to put your own way forward, because you're going to have to be flexible of like, okay, I'm going to have to do this, or, you know, maybe some outside thing that you want to connect with or person or situation isn't going as fast as you want. You're going to have to learn to find peace in this time by the actions that you take, because this South Node in Libra has Juno with it. We've been seeing Black Moon Lilith go back and forth. And with Black Moon Lilith and Venus here in opposition to Saturn and square to Jupiter, even with like Black Moon Lilith beginning to square Mars here, this is not to bring out the I need to prove energy. I need to prove what's right and what's wrong. I need to prove this cause, right? Like this is because, you know, there's two sides of the coin here. It's like, one, okay, you don't need to be the one that's like telling everybody what to do. This is the way to be. And then on the other side, this isn't about pinpointing the one person or the one situation in life that's so bad and everybody join my team and we're all going to go take this down, right? There's a trap waiting on both sides of it, because that creates extreme divisiveness. And, you know, with Uranus, there is this feeling of not like Pluto betrayal, but there's this feeling of, how am I going to get back up? Remember that Uranus falls because of Saturn, and when he falls, he loses his nutsack, literally cuts off his nutsack, okay, lands in the ocean. And it's a crazy story, I know. But, you know, to me, this is that story where it's like, there are powers that be, especially with Pluto at 0 Aquarius, and we're getting close to this Pluto retrograde to ingress back into Capricorn for the last time. And we have to remember that is the major player that's going to be playing out. And we are so close. Today's the 18th and 19th. 11 days, 12 days. And Saturn rules Capricorn, and Pluto's going to amplify that. And that's the last big thing of this last 16 years. Whether you like it or not, you know, these are times where Jupiter and Saturn deal with the biggest turn of direction in our lives, especially the squares. You know, last time was in 2016, we had that Jupiter-Saturn square. And so it's been 8 years. And that was when Saturn was with the South Node, or that was with the South Node and Neptune in Pisces. And I got to tell you, like, this is a time where, you know, big shifts are happening in your life. I always say Jupiter and Saturn's where the rudder actually turns this massive boat in our life. And we have to also be optimistic about it, even though it might not be easy. And, you know, because Pluto's in Aquarius, this is where the illusion, because this is a full moon, and because at the same time Venus is in opposition to Saturn in Pisces, and because Jupiter squares Saturn in Pisces, and so the illusion of this Pluto Aquarius that has come in a little bit last year, most of this year, of like, oh, the future is going to look like this, and it's going to look like that, and I'm going to be able to break free of this and break free of that. Because this full moon in Aquarius is making that square to Uranus. And at the same token, Saturn's in square to Jupiter. Saturn's in opposition to Venus. And Saturn's with Neptune. And Neptune's retrograded and been at the 29th degree, the last degree of the zodiac, in its home sign since May 3rd. That there's massive illusions that, oh, this is the way the world's going to work. And da-da-da-da. No, it's not. We're going back to Capricorn. Right? And even with Venus right now, the South Node has been in Libra this whole year. It's going to continue to the very beginning of next year, right? And that disposits Venus. So this is not a good place for you to try and find calm and peace by taking some sort of action you actually think is the right thing. Because it's like Uranus will like pull the tile underneath you. It's like, oh, I'm supposed to go do something on tile or something. No, you know, like this is where it's more about, where are you not seeing forward, seeing that not everything is on the same value system. Not everything is about you. Not everything is about others too, right? This is where you can also get lost into worrying about what other people think too much, and follow into groupthink or follow into group, craziness, right? Like, oh, well, everybody's feeling this way, so maybe I need to, right? That's the battle between Leo and Aquarius. And even with Uranus being here in Taurus, there's a bunch of people out there who are lost. That's where, Uranus and Taurus is what brought in communism, socialism of the 1930s that was horrible. And look at what people are doing again. Let's just go do it again. Let's go try it again. Retarded. Right? So this is a wake-up call. And this is a wake-up call that's like, what's trying to take away your happiness? If it's anything outside of you, you're allowing it. Right? Because you don't have the courage to speak from your heart, bring love into this equation, and knowing how to have confidence. I made the thumbnail, even though I don't think it's showing because I'm trying this restream thing so I can go to Twitter and all these other places at the same time instead of putting the whole load on my GPU. I made this one. You'll see it. It's funny. I have it as a lion, and it's holding down its castle, and it's a bunch of water bears trying to take over the castle. And he's kind of just chilling, not worried about it too much. Because this is where it finds, where are you so weak with your self-worth? With Uranus and Taurus, in that square that we're seeing, and with it being in square to Mercury at the same time, this is really where your self-worth is going to determine how happy you are. So if you really undercut yourself all the time and are like, you know what, I'm not that great. I don't look that great. I don't feel that great. I don't think I have the best things in life. Guess what? This Aquarius energy is like, because you're comparing. You're comparing on social media too much, Aquarius. You're comparing on the internet. You're comparing and contrasting to other people. Right? Leo, the sun, does not compare. Right? You're talking to the Leo king here, right? I'm double Leo. I'm fucking Venus Leo, Mercury Leo too, and everything else in fucking Leo. I'm Mr. fucking Leo. I can tell you that when I go do something, I'm not going, well, what is everyone else going to be doing out there? Guess what I do? I just go and go, I'm going to make people laugh. Look what I'm doing. But you know what? There's going to be a lot of people that clap back and be like, fuck you. I don't like this. I don't like that. And this is about the strength that you have to find within yourself to be like, okay, let's find things that we have in common. You might not like the way I look, or you might not like the way that I do this, but what can we find in common? And the crazy people right now are going to be so unhappy because it's forcing to make people find commonality when it should be a natural given. It's like, okay, we might not agree on politics. We might not agree on this, but we agree on like that kids shouldn't be, hurt, right? We agree on some basic shit here. We agree that, I want you to be happy. And this is what's going to be hard, is I feel like with this Venus opposite Saturn, this Venus square Mars that's coming in, this can also be some very masculine, feminine, imbalanced energy, right? Especially with Lilith and Venus here. So the feminine energy can be really dark, and then the masculine can be like really like, oh, I can outsmart and outwit. And that is not a good combination, right? So especially with Chiron that's still in Aries, of course, with this North Node, right? There's a lot of wounded egos out there. And this is just baiting so many people to just like, I'm a victim. I'm not getting anything in life. I'm not getting anything I want. And it's like, you don't know how to hold your self-worth and how badass of a motherfucker you are without having to like prove it. You don't have to prove it. You just have to be it. Right? And be flexible. Like, okay, this is happening. This crazy thing's happening. Okay, I'm still a badass. Let me move through it. Acceptance is going to be a thing that is coming up with Pluto, of course, being an Aquarius, dispositing this Uranus. So if you think about it, there's this hidden underneath of like, are you desperate trying to find, where am I going in my future? What does my future look like? Because Pluto's trying to desperately drill and find this deep emotional feeling of like, how can I get rid of my problems? Well, news flash, there's no such thing as getting rid of all your problems ever. The second that you think that you do, there's a new one that comes up. Okay? There's always a problem, but they're more enhanced right now, and they're more like feeling as like this desperate call to fix something. The more you get lost in there, the more fragmented you become, because Uranus, what it does well too, is it fragments. It can disconnect many things, right? It could shatter many parts of your energy. And right now you want to keep all your energy together. And you know what? You're not gonna be liked by every single person. You're not going to ever get people that all see you the same way. Everybody has their own perspectives. That's where that Mars, Jupiter, everybody sees facts different. Everybody sees things, right? Some people will tell me I'm misinformation, and then it's clear. I'll be like, no, look at here it is. I can't believe you didn't look at that. And then that you're the one who's misinformation about me being misinformation. But you know what? This is like to where, hey, everybody's gonna be in this crazy divided tribalism here, and it's part of the astrology, like I've said for many years, and it's just going to continue. And I'm sorry, there is no unification moment here. Neptune at 29 Pisces never is, right? You're going to see the psycho crazy people who want to keep enslaving, who want to keep death trains going, want to keep people censored, want to keep doing all this crazy shit, and you just are going to have to just hold your own. And you're just going to have to keep bringing the love. And you know what? One day when the dust settles in the years to come, we're all going to be like, who got it? Like, okay, we're still going to have to find love for those people during our reconstruction of this whole world. Because, you know, the world's fragmented as fuck right now. And you know what? Don't try and convince somebody right now to change. Because they're going to be triggered, and this can cause fights. This could cause a huge amount of stress that's unneeded. Right now, to de-stress, focus on happiness. What do you have in your life right now? And even if it's changing, what do you have right now in your life that's changing and forcing you to up level, to up your frequency to a higher vibration right now, especially in the space of your self-worth, your value, and appreciation? You know, we don't appreciate the things that we have in our life enough. We don't appreciate the world that we even are able to do this, even if it is crazy. And that's where we really have to step forward right now, is in a deeper appreciation for what we have. If you even just look at Fortuna here at 29 Aries, about to square Pluto, like this is going to bring so many crazy wheels of just fate that are just moving in the weirdest directions. It's going to land on bankruptcy for some people. It's going to land on everything is just a crazy, you don't even know what the role is. And if you're the one who's like, oh, I'm going to go play craps and I'm going to roll 7 every time and I'm going to roll this, I'm going to roll that. No, you're not. Right? So overconfidence is another one that I would stay away from. It's about being confident. It's about being secure. It's about, you know, speaking from the heart and understanding like you're not going to hit everybody right now with what is the ultimate truth, right? There's a lot of things that have to still reveal themselves in the world. And that's going to be the only way that some people are going to get it. So find a way to rise above. Rise above this shit. Rise above crazy people. Rise above crazy AI fucking world that we're seeing. Rise above all this shit that's going on that's divisive as fuck right now. Just rise above it. I know it's hard though. But you need to focus on, is the fire lit? Is the pilot light still always going to the furnace of your heart? If that's gone out because you're worried about what everybody else is doing, or you're comparing, or the worst thing you can do with Uranus is say, well, everybody else is doing this and I'm not looking or feeling that way, so there's something wrong. What if all those people were doing the wrong thing? Like getting a fucking mRNA shot, like a fucking idiot, right? Like fucking, like, you know, so that would be like, oh, well, everyone's doing it, so I feel weird. No, actually, you know, you don't need to do what everyone's doing. So that's why you're seeing this swell up. Pluto getting ready to come back into Capricorn, right? You're starting to see the same thing in the deception with the Jupiter-Saturn square of 2016. And that was South Node Neptune, and Saturn in square to Neptune as well. And that was, you know, everybody thought Hillary was going to win and all this shit. And they were all fucking retarded, and they lost, and they fucking knew it. And all the astrology community was retarded again, and they're being retarded again. Look at the last 3 weeks of videos about Kamala Harris without realizing it's been Mercury retrograde. Every single forecast of anybody out there is wrong. So, like dead wrong. So like this is not a time for, this is a time for like looking at your life and going like, there are weird shit. There is stressful things changing, but embrace those and don't get divided within yourself. Don't get divided within your tribe of your loving energy, those that surround you. Remember, Jupiter and Mars here in Gemini is about your local environment, right? The energy, like your siblings, your neighbors, the people around you, like keep that tight right now. Don't worry about what people in another world and another fucking universe and another thing are doing right now. Focus on keeping that level as high as possible. And you know what? Do the little things like, you know what? People are stupid out there. Whatever. I got more important shit to be doing right now, right? Like, we already know, just looking at the astrology of this Mercury retrograde, this Venus opposite Saturn, like the universe is saying that whatever this DNC is a fucking joke, right? It's not even meant to be good, right? It's not. So, like, it's like, for somebody like me, it's like, I'm not even going to worry about whatever they're going to try and lie to people about again. And, remember, it's Biden's sun at 27 Scorpio. So this whole event is about Biden and what really is Biden, what happened to him really, who was he the whole time, and what has come in. And remember with Pluto, whenever it's ingressing in a new sign, anything that just shows up new out of nowhere and get too much power too quick is dark and is feeding the energy that's making you fall for some sort of, it's like reptilian prey, like trying to bait you and make you think that it's feeling so good again. Just like how it was with Obama. And I fell for that shit in 2008. Don't fall for that shit again. If you do, then you really don't understand astrology and you don't believe in it. And you think that you can't let go of values that really are not true. Like I base my life off astrology, right? So anybody who's going to come out new and be like too quick, too fast, too instant, it's kind of like a one night stand with somebody you shouldn't. And then you end up with like fucking HIV, right? Like don't be in that world right now. And by the way, I just saw a video that they're trying to say in that LGBTQ plus community that, oh, if you don't, if you've been taking all the PrEP and you don't really show that you're HIV anymore, you don't need to tell people. So they're not telling people in that community. And that's okay. So the world's run right now by people that are insane. The world's run by astrology communities that literally tell you to still wear a mask and test to go to an astrology conference and won't address it. And all I can say is I'm excited for this full moon because it's about to wreck massive amount of people in the world with their ideology that has been baited and fooled. And to me, this is like a big fool card. It's just like a big, like, oh, you thought you knew the world? I would say to be focused more on the financial aspects, more on your life and getting back to the grind and not just hoping for some handout. This is also the realization that handouts are not going to be a thing in the future. Right? So there is no more handouts. There is no more free this. There is no more just pass go, collect $200 all the time. Right? So you got to get back to the power within yourself of like, what's my problem? And being honest, addressing, maybe you have values that you're afraid to let go of, right? Like, oh, like, I've had control. I feel good only like this, but maybe you're dealing with the problem. Like maybe you're dealing with a mental health issue or you're dealing with a problem with money and your job is bad or you don't have a job and you don't keep putting a resume out there or you keep delaying the project that you want to do, right? This is like, you have to face it now. You have to have courage to face it. And it's hard when there's a whole crazy world out there trying to go back into fucking Nazi world, go back into fucking USSR communism and just bring it all back in, right? But that means you got to still be able to take care of yourself and navigate these waters because this is, unfortunately, a time in life where, even with Neptune and Pisces, right? The South. And what did I say 2 weeks ago on that new moon Leo? I said social media is not going to be the place to put your energy anymore, especially the truth. And what's happened? Thousands of people have been arrested in Britain, right? Because of just whatever they want. I don't even know. I mean, I know, but I don't know. Who knows what they all said? What do you think they're trying to implement everywhere else? Trying to put passes to go on social media in Australia? Wake up. Right? Especially if you just think about this full moon in Aquarius, square Uranus. Like, the internet is not your friend. It doesn't make you happy. If you're still making likes and followers and all those things make you happy, this is where you have to say that is not the highest value. Doesn't mean shit. And this is also, I would say, the shock that hopefully will wake up so many people to start to move in the right direction of, you know, bringing some solidarity of true heart back instead of like crazy non-logical things, and also things that aren't from the heart, like, but from the fake heart. Or the worst is the fake heart that's saying the do-gooder, like, oh, we're here to help all these people, but they don't help people. They don't give a fuck about people. There's a lot of people out there that don't give a fuck about helping people, that are talking right now out there in the world being like, oh yeah, I want to help. Yeah, right. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Look at the underlying thing. Right? And this is where you're going to have ultimate courage, because at the end of the day, it's a full moon. It's the sun at its domicile position of Leo, right? This is the sun in Leo. This is about true expression of self, and the angry mobs that are out there. And angry mobs don't like people who speak from the heart and do things that take courage. Angry mobs are lazy. People who will get pissed at other people, especially on the internet, and they get all frumped up about people that have good, strong Leo energy and love and positivity and can laugh and look good, are fucking insects. They're weirdos. And let them be weirdos. Let them go be trolls under a rock. Let them, you know, this is where the world is not going to be a place where a lot of people have suave, badass energy, because they keep falling for the tricks of the media, the tricks of what looks cool, the tricks of what looks like a social movement, when really it's just bringing them into the slaughter. Don't fall for it. I hope you don't. Let's see what we got card-wise. Being, you know, it's kind of crazy out there. People are like, I'm going to just be communist now. I'm going to be socialist. I'm going to say it out loud. I'm sorry. Who really does the government owe money to? Do we really know the real people behind it? You know, like, oh, the central banks? Like, yeah, right. Like, who's the private bankers behind that? You think they're just going to go, yeah, let's just give y'all money. We're just going to give y'all money. No, it's more like, oh, you know, we need all those people to work. And since everything with work's going bad, let's just make them slaves. Make them slaves for basic income. Don't become the virus that's really going to go around the world, right? Of this, like, oh, they're here to give us free things. Pfft. If we're in a country and we're in a world where people don't understand freedom at all. There is no comfort on this full moon, by the way. So if you're trying to find comfort right now, it'll probably be in the place that you're avoiding, right? So wherever you're thinking, oh, I'm going to find comfort here, and it's not happening, it's exactly where, when you're going, well, if somebody offers, like, let me comfort you in this way, and you're like, no, it's like, that's exactly where the comfort is. That's so funny about Uranus square with the moon, right? It's like, it's in the spot that you're not looking, right? It's like, no, I don't want to go to the party. I want to be home, and I just don't want to be around anyone. It's like, actually being around the party and being around other people will make you feel more comfortable than you trying to find it alone, right? So get out of your own fucking way and your stubbornness of like, oh, I'm not feeling comfortable. And when it's offered to you in a good way, and you're like, no, I'm going to still try and go down the world that I believe is going to be better for me right now. It's like, don't be stupid, right? And don't fall for, oh, you know what? They're going to just give me some free money in the world. And oh my God. You know, think about this, you know. What's going to be coming out this week is really the fight for bread lines. And what I mean by that is bread lines matter. The new BLM is going to be bread lines matter. That's what they want. So don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. What do we got card-wise here? By the way, last spiritual dance music for a while till I get to the new studio, and I won't be able to be as loud as I have at this studio for the last 7 years. So it'll, of course, keep going. It just won't be the same. So, and by the way, I'm doing it on Facebook, on the Leo King Facebook. They're letting me do it and not trying to take me off. YouTube has, I don't know if you've seen, but they've taken about 50 of my spiritual dance musics down. I've got a massive strike now, and I can't do it on here. And that's why you don't see me on here a lot. That's why I'm on Ivy.tv, because social media has become a place where you can't speak any truth at all anymore. You can't do anything cool, you know. So, plus, if you actually go on High Vibe, we have our own social network, spiritual community, the whole nine. You can post and be free speech on there. And when I mean it, you can make your own videos, everything. People do their own truth and do their own thing on there. And it's all spiritual people, and it gets out of this crazy, weird world full of bots and all that shit. All right, what do we got here card-wise? Ooh, this is... I like that we got this card. This is a 10 of Wands. You got to keep pushing, even though it feels like you want to give up. In order to get to where you need to go right now, it feels like a ton of weight on top. But you know what? There's nothing worse in life than quitting and then being like, I was just right there. Just because you want some little bit of relief. Keep pushing through the hard shit right now. Keep doing the work. Don't you dare quit right now. Don't you dare be like, oh, I just want to break. There's no breaks right now. Like I said, sink or swim. Pluto, when it comes back into Capricorn, many people are going to sink. Keep swimming right now. Oh, we got the Hangman too. You know what? This is a great time to get that awakening by seeing things from a weird angle, very Uranus, very especially this moon in Aquarius, and even with Mercury in opposition, right? We're going to have to know when to kind of like be an observer and then know like, okay, what are you going to do with that observation, right? Keep observing right now, keep seeing. You know, you're not going to change the world right now by what you say perfectly, right? Like, there is no perfect anything right now, especially with South Node and Libra. There is no perfect anything. And stay positive right now. And when you're dealing with weird shit, be flexible and keep staying out of the hive mindset. Stay away from anybody promoting socialism or anything that is insane, that has never worked in history, and it continues not to, and it continues to really be used by people to just take away from everybody and give people nothing. And by the way, the people that push it are the first people that always end up in the gulags. So I appreciate you all very much. Don't fall for all this AI stuff that's being in the media right now. Because it is. Nobody's even fact-checked it correctly and looked at it. Do some research. It's kind of scary. I appreciate you all. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Attention, please.
Yo. Okay.
Attention,